Hi, my name is Brandon and I'm an alcoholic and addict in recovery. And if you got to this video, you're probably getting here through some kind of social media. Social media has been a really important part of my recovery, especially during the pandemic. And I've been so thankful that social media has been available for me to connect with different groups of recovering addicts, to reach out to people easily, to even hold meetings on during the pandemic, and just in my early recovery in general. One of the first things that I did with the group of people that I went to treatment with was join a group chat where we all supported each other and talked to each other through the first few weeks of our time outside of residential treatment. And it was a real blessing to have that technology available to us. So social media is a great thing and can be a great thing, especially when you're trying to connect with like-minded people who you might not otherwise have an opportunity to see in person. On the other hand, there's also negatives to social media, and depending on the kind of person you are, you may find yourself scrolling through a social media feed and starting to encounter some negative emotions, whether you start to get envious of people who are posting pictures of what seem to be their best lives on social media, or whether you start to see friends that you perceived one way posting opinions that you just do not agree with. Those are the kinds of things that can come up that can spark some negative emotions and potentially even put you in a pretty bad place in terms of your mental state. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that because I think it's important to consider this from two different angles. For example, this morning I saw a friend post something about the Simone Biles, the gymnast who exited the Olympics, claiming mental health issues was the reason that she did that. And which my opinion is, hey, good for her. Take care of yourself. End of discussion. And I had a friend on social media who expressed some very different opinions, and some opinions that I felt were very unfair and even condescending toward people who are struggling with mental health issues. And I found myself getting very upset. And so one of the things, there's two things I can do with that. One of the things is try to learn from this person, really understand where they coming from, and try to have a little bit of compassion for that person, even though I don't agree with them. It's part of my own pride and ego that I get so upset with people who have different opinions than I do. They have every right to have that opinion. You know, it's not my job to make sure that everybody agrees with everything that I think. In fact, I don't want that in the world. I want different people to have different opinions. So this is an opportunity for me to look at that initial emotion that I had of, I've got to defend my ideas here, and I have to defend all the people who struggle with mental health, and really take a step back and say, well, that's really more of me trying to defend my pride and ego and wanting to be right. And wanting to be right is not a good way to go into any kind of conversation that you're trying to have with somebody. Wanting to be educated and wanting to learn and come out of the conversation knowing more than you did going in, that's the right way to go in. So that being said, it's encountering those issues on social media is a great way for me to look at, all right, where are some areas that I need to work on myself? Same thing when I see somebody posting pictures on social media and I get envious of them. Like they've posting their adventures in, you know, Africa, some very exotic vacation that I know costs a lot of money. I could get very jealous of them. I could get envious of them. Um, and that kind of thing comes up in me. And I have to recognize that as that's an issue that I need to work on. The fact that I am envious of people, not to mention the fact that people post my one of my best friends in recovery calls them highlight reels. They're just posting the highlight reels of their lives. And if I look back at the stuff I post on social media, it's the same thing. I don't post the pictures of, me crying in the corner because I'm having a really rough day. In fact, I don't take pictures like that. And so, you see the highlight reels on social media. But if you're not keeping things in your head straight, you start to get envious of people and you start to think, man, I should be doing something in my life to get whatever they're getting. And again, that's a sign that I have some things that I need to work on. And that's my pride, my ego, other things that I need to take a look at within myself and say, okay, are you really feeling like this, or is there something else going on? Is there something in your own life that you think you should be doing more of that maybe you're not? And so those are a couple of the issues that I encounter on social media. And there are times where I find it very difficult to turn those things around. I find it very difficult to stop being envious. I find it difficult to stop being upset at the things that I see. So in those moments, I try to work on myself. But if I just can't seem to get my head turned around, that's a good time for me. It's a good sign for me that it's time for a break. It's time to take a break from it. We can get addicted to scrolling through these feeds the same way that we got addicted to drugs, alcohol, you name it. And there's nothing wrong with taking a break because you feel overwhelmed in whatever way from looking at social media. For me, I'm very fortunate that I'm part of these recovery groups. So if I feel like I need to take a break, I can take a break from the main social media feed and just focus on looking at anything new that pops up on my recovery groups. Because pretty much everybody who's posting there is posting there to try to lift other people up, to try to offer advice, to try to reach out if they need help. Those are good, positive interactions. So social media can be a wonderful tool, and I think it's a very helpful thing for anybody who's in recovery who is in a place where, they might need the ability to reach out to people in a group that they might not have access to otherwise. But at the same time, it's okay to take a break from it. And in fact, sometimes if you find that it's really causing you mental anguish, that's the best thing to do. That's all I've got for today. I hope you have a great day. I'll be back here tomorrow with more.